All right, James, we had the niche site OG come on, Spencer Haws. What did you think?
No, it was awesome. I think what was, actually, no, probably shouldn't say what, how can I clickbait it? How can I clickbait it? Well, anyway, niche pursuits, obviously he's doing that. And as everyone can see, he's slowly kind of removing his face from the brand. You can take from there what you will. You have to listen to the podcast to find out more. But we dive into, we have to dive into a whole bunch of different things mainly around diversification, actually, especially around with the news of, if everyone listened to our emergency pod before this, obviously the news around the AI content on the SERP. So we dive into a lot around diversification and potential things there, and a lot of into Spencer's kind of history around the different. Man, he's had a whole lot of different projects. I didn't even know about the Amazon FBA stuff and some of the other SaaS things that he's exited. So yeah, he's almost hit like win after win after win with exit, hit this bull run, exit. You know, just playing on easy mode.
Yeah, smart guy. I like it. I like the way he diversifies. After I've been called out for too much diversification, I think I needed to hear it. But it's good. It's good. I think what we went over were exact numbers. So I like that he was able to reveal what he exited certain companies for, the types of numbers he was doing. And yeah, I think he was pretty candid during this call. He let his guard down, and let me just say I try to get as much out of him as possible.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you want to do another mention of our sponsor?
Yeah, sure. Ahrefs.com, guys. We already called it out in the middle of the pod, so you're welcome for that, Ahrefs. But yeah, it's funny to see how much of an impact they had on Spencer's business as well. But yeah, we can dive a bit more into the use cases of Ahrefs another time. What do you think, James?
No, for sure. I mean, if you listen to the podcast, we mentioned it in there too, and Spencer uses it basically for all his analysis there too. So shout out to Ahrefs as well. And then if anyone else is interested in Moscow's the podcast, make sure you listen through. We've run through some other topics too around some of his tools and email marketing and the things that he's looking to do this year to scale his business as well.
Yeah, great. Well, if you guys are listening on YouTube already, you're 2 minutes in, please go like the video, go comment as well. Let us know if you want to see who you want to see come on the pod. We can talk more about it. And yeah, I appreciate all the support lately. We're growing nicely, guys. Let's keep it going. Cool. What's good, everyone? It's Jacky Chow.
And this is James DeLacy.
And you're listening to This Week in Digital Marketing. All right, welcome to This Week in Digital Marketing. My name is Jacky Chow. James DeLacy is my co-host, and joined with me today is Spencer Haws from Niche Pursuits. How's it going, man?
Hey, it's going good. Jacky, James, great to be on the show. Excited to chat about whatever we want to chat about today.
Cool. Why don't you give the audience your background story? Like, how did you get started in this space? And yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of people might know me from nichepursuits.com. It's a blog I've had since 2011 is when I started it. And so whatever that is now, 12 years, something like that. I started the blog shortly after quitting my job in business banking. So I was a business banker for about 8 years after college, and didn't love that. And fortunately was able to figure out how to build niche sites, build an online income. So built a lot of niche sites prior to 2011, which led me to quitting my job. I was making more money from my little niche websites than I was from banking. So quit my job, then started the blog Niche Pursuits to kind of share, hey, here's what I did. And if anybody else wants to chat about niche sites or building online income, this is my way to connect with people now that I don't work at a regular job where I talk to employees and coworkers and things like that. So that's my very quick background. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And I've been following you for a while. I think your execution in the last year has really ramped up, and you've done really well for yourself, right? On the niche pursuit side, as well as you're entering several verticals on the SaaS side as well. What made you make the pivot from niche sites to something like SaaS, like Link Whisper and Originality, and you had your hand in some other businesses as well, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So, so my first SaaS business was Longtail Pro that I actually launched in 2011 as well. So from the very beginning, honestly, as weird as it sounds, when I quit my job in 2011, it was like exclusively like niche site SEO income. I knew that was a really bad idea to be like reliant on Google. And so that's why I, at that point, made the very conscious decision, like, I'm never going to have my sole income be reliant on Google or Google AdSense. Whole story behind that about getting an, account shut down with Google AdSense back in 2012. So yeah, in 2011 is when I launched Longtail Pro, ran that from 2011 to 2016. Did Amazon FBA, had a pretty significant business there that I ran from 2014 to 2018, I think is when I sold that business. So yeah, I've kind of always wanted to make sure that a significant portion of my income was not reliant on SEO and niche sites and all of that all along. So in 2019 is when I launched Link Whisper, which it's doing very well and it's growing. Awesome, business. But for those that don't know, it's an internal linking plugin, WordPress plugin. And so that's, a little over 3.5 years old at this point. But yes, in addition to that, I've also become a partner in a number of businesses, like Motion Invest, where I'm not an operational partner, but I am sort of a strategic partner there. We have a COO that runs that business, but I just hop on calls and put the word out to my audience every once in a while about listings. And then Originality.ai, which is, an AI content detector. We actually launched that the week before ChatGPT came out, which was nice timing. We didn't, nobody knew that was coming, but that gave it a nice boost. But John Gillum is the operational partner there. I've just invested in strategic partner there. And I have a couple other businesses like that where I'm kind of just a strategic partner. Nice. Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting to see how you're diversifying away from Google traffic. Well, I think with the new news that's coming out right now with, the new Bing, did you see the Microsoft event? That was pretty intense.
Yes, I heard about that they're going to be using, that and ChatGPT in their search and other places a lot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to definitely diversify. But at the same time, I think I'm diversifying not in the correct way because I'm still reliant on Google for revenue. For example, if I have an SEO agency and Google goes away, then I'm pretty screwed, right? Or if I'm running on the same side, if Google goes away and becomes a less dominant search engine, then stuff like Ahrefs is also gone. So, like, these several verticals. I'm not in Ahrefs, but I'm saying like these tools that are built on top of the platform. So there's certain platform risks that we have to assess as well.
Yep.
And how have you gone? Like, how have you diversified from Google lately? Because your tools are typically built on top of it, right? Besides Originality, perhaps I think you have your hand in a hosting business as well. So that would be something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, but are those doing significant revenue right now? Because if Google goes away tomorrow, maybe your niche pursuit site would also take a beating on revenue, right? Like,
for sure.
To me, I take the biggest tank of all time. That would be a huge L. So like, what have you done to maybe diversify away from Google, or are you still confident and still bullish on the future of Google?
Yeah, it's interesting because we might jump into, I think what spurred this interview in the first place is that I invested so heavily on SEO for niche pursuits. So we can touch on that. Yeah. So I am still bullish for sure on SEO, but I do think about diversification. So, I've had a couple of exits. So I've diversified, like I got a real estate project, developing some land, building some homes, with a partner. Of course, financial diversification that way. But still, beyond that, yeah, the hosting company that I'm invested in, originality.ai, right? That's a little bit of diversification, but Link Whisper, Niche Pursuits, a couple other sites that I have, very reliant on Google, right? So there is a huge risk there on, what does the future of SEO look like? And nobody knows that answer. I think a lot of people might be making hasty decisions and thinking that things are going to disappear overnight. I'm not in that camp. I think SEO is going to be around for a long time, but I think it would be smart to not have 100% of your business reliant on Google and SEO. I think that's just, smart business practice.
We were just talking about that during our emergency podcast, talking about some of this news too, and about being so reliant on Google. But is there anything that you're looking to do, Spencer, to maybe change some of that? Maybe, because I think you mentioned now you have some niche sites on the site. There's some sites you're just working on too. Is that right?
I do have a couple of niche sites. I wouldn't call them significant. They don't get a lot of my time, really.
Okay.
I do put most of my time into Niche Pursuits and Link Whisper right now. But I am diversifying a lot with email. Like my email list is quite large. And that's something that I built from day one. I think the very first site, version of my site, I was collecting emails, from day one. And so that's always been really important. But if last year was the year of publishing a ton of content and growing the SEO traffic, I'm trying to make this year the year of email growth, grow my email list and monetize my email list a lot better, because Google doesn't touch that, of course. And so that and video, I am looking at video as a potential means of building an audience and building a business around that as well. So.
Yeah, great. Spencer, your recent, well, not the recent YouTube video, but the YouTube video that got like 75K views, that was like the perfect formula, right? Mm-hmm. Are you going to like rinse and repeat similar stuff like that from now on? Because that takes a lot of time.
It does. It takes a lot of time. So I was going to say, I'd like to. It's a smart plan. It's a plan I've written down, but execution is a lot of work. It does take a lot of time to put together those types of videos. And for those that may be wondering what the video was, it's not a video that I targeted any sort of keyword, right? It's not, nobody is going to Google or to YouTube and searching for, publishing 1,000 blog posts or whatever. That was kind of the title of my video, but really targeting, the browse features, the recommended video features of YouTube, sort of catching people with a creative introduction, right? If you can get people to watch the first minute and stick around, and that can snowball from there. And so I would definitely like to do a lot more of those. I actually enjoy making those videos, but as you said, it takes a ton of time, and I'm finding that I either need to hire some more people to help me in other areas. Like if I really want to grow the email, like I'm thinking that I should, I don't know if I have time to do both. So I need to maybe ramp up my team before I can consistently start pumping out videos like that. I'd like to do maybe two videos a month that are highly produced, highly potential to get, the 75 or 100,000 views, which is great for our niche, right? Mr. Beast would, laugh at us, of course, but in our niche, something getting over 50,000 views is great.
Yeah, and the RPMs in our niche are way higher than Mr. Beast, I guess, because ours is business content, right?
Yep.
No, I think that's interesting. How do you divide up your time right now? Because you talk about so many projects, you have your hand in so many things. Is it primarily niche pursuits still, or like, for example, what did you do today? You had a full day. It's evening right now for you. What did you do?
It is evening. Yeah. So I spend probably most of my time on niche pursuits. So I went through and I was actually recently I tweeted about, is there any email marketing specialists out there? And I got several leads. So I actually emailed and sort of chatted with several of those. So I'm looking to find potentially either somebody to put in place or just consult with somebody. So I spent a couple hours today kind of doing that. I actually posted a job on Upwork I just want to chat with some people about different strategies that maybe can consult me. So I do a lot of things like that. I went in and fixed some basic things on niche pursuits. I manage writers. I have a content manager, kind of a senior editor person. And so I'll email back and forth with him and make sure the process is moving smoothly. I did a little bit of keyword research today. And then just answering a lot of emails that come in related to niche pursuits, whether that's potential podcast guests or people wanting to sponsor things or anything revolving around any of that. And then the other portion of my day is spent on Link Whisper, sort of managing that, right? I have customer support staff in place. I do have a growth manager in place there as well that manages ads, that manages affiliates. And I have a full-time developer.
What was his name?
Josh Blackburn.
Yes. I think
he's on Twitter as well, so maybe you've connected. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Good hire.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yep. He was working in the corporate world. He was on the list for niche pursuits, so I emailed it out the job opening to my email list, and I got tons of great applicants. It just so happens that my email list is full of digital marketers. So it's always a great resource. I can just email and say, hey, I got a job opening. And Josh was one of those guys that came over. Nice. He's been great.
Nice. I don't know if this is public knowledge, but I like to poke around and ask our guests, like, what is your current revenue breakdown? Not like exact numbers, but like, what's the percentages? Like, where do you get, how much is from ads? How much is from sponsorships? How much is from YouTube revenue? Affiliates, maybe? Because I see on your site, it's a lot of informational keywords, right?
It is.
So I'm guessing it's heavily ads, but I don't know what's going on in the background. Maybe you have the most insane sales team just like going out and grabbing leads for you. But yeah, I'm personally curious.
Yeah. So I only recently added display ads on the site, only in late December, actually. So it's been less than 2 months. But so the breakdown is, okay, let me think about percentages, but so display ads, I'm wishing I would have done this a lot sooner because it is making up probably 25 to 30% almost now of the revenue.
Okay.
And that is partially because of the huge growth that I saw this year, right? Like my traffic did crazy. About 5x this year. So by the end of the year, I'm like, I'm just stupid not to like throw ads on it, right? Before it didn't make a lot of sense, but now it does. So maybe 25 to 30% is now display ads. And then affiliate is, 50%.
Okay.
And then sponsorships, YouTube makes up the rest, right? I don't count Link Whisper revenue in that, right? So Link Whisper would be a whole separate business, right? So those percentages would just be what I make on niche pursuits, directly as an affiliate display ads coming directly from the site. So,
gotcha. Question for you: would you ever exit niche pursuits? Because I have seen you. It feels like you're stepping away slowly compared to previous years. It's not like you're completely the face of the brand anymore. You putting people in place, like with your podcasts. You have Jared, great guy, as well as you mentioned the senior editor on staff. So you can probably step away. And I guess if you do sell it, the SaaS products that you launch in the future won't be as strong because it'll be harder to launch, right? Because you don't have that list, you don't have your audience. Pretty much. Would you sell it? And what's like the logic behind selling?
Yeah, I definitely would sell it. That's the plan, to sell it. It will be sold in the future. Nothing's in the works. But I'm setting it all up to be sold, right? Like I think that's just smart. Any business, if it's possible to sell, you should set it up so it can be sold. So yeah, over the last couple of years, I've made very strategic steps to remove myself as much as possible from the business. Steps you mentioned: I have a podcast host, so I'm not the face of the podcast. I don't write really hardly any articles anymore at all. So I'm not really the face of the blog anymore. I have 20 different authors publishing content on the blog. I have a senior editor managing that whole process. I still mostly write all the emails, but I'm making it more formulaic so it's easier, right? If somebody were to step in. So yeah, definitely I plan to sell the business. All the software companies, are separate, legal entities, right? Like Link Whisper is a different business than Niche Pursuits is. So really what I would probably do is I would sell all my software companies first, and Niche Pursuits would be the last thing. I'd sell it and move on.
Really?
Yeah, probably not. That would kind of be my time to retire. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to sell Link Whisper. I'm going to exit every other partnership. I'll sell Niche Pursuits, and I'll walk away and go into real estate or something, right? Just that I can work part-time maybe. So yeah, gotcha. That's how I think about it, right? So if I do plan to launch additional software products in the next couple of years, I've still got Niche Pursuits in the audience, and I can launch those products and still hopefully do well. But when I'm ready to walk away, that's probably the domino effect that you would see is I'd start selling things off, and then Niche Pursuits would be last.
If I was a betting man, I would have bet that you would sell Niche Pursuits first because of how strategic you were throughout the years. But yeah, interesting to hear that would be the last one to go. I mean, it makes sense because if you want to launch additional products. But yeah, do you have any additional ideas in the pipeline? I know you sent out like a tweet asking for operators and people to pitch you ideas for you to be like a partner and stuff, right? Did that yield any good, strong ideas? Or is it a hit or a miss?
Semi-hit. I do have a couple ideas I'm working on. So let me kind of give you an inside scoop on why I did that. So the types of businesses ideas that I asked for, I was really looking for very small sort of side hustle. I think I even said either in the tweet or an email I sent out that like, hey, what's something that, if you had $5,000 or $10,000 could be making money, within 90 days, just something quick you could build up and, have a nice little revenue stream. I'm kind of I was looking to invest in those types of ideas that other people could operate. I could invest so that I could have a great story to publish on YouTube, to be honest. Like it was really, yes, maybe I end up with a nice little business that's making a couple thousand a month, but really I can make this video that says, I tried to launch XYZ business and this is what happened, right? And I could have this cool story and this cool video that gets a couple 100,000 views and builds my audience. So that's really what was the purpose, was to build the audience, not so much to build the businesses. That would just be a nice perk. It would scratch my shiny object itch, right? Of like, oh, cool, we're going to try these little business ideas, but somebody else is going to run it. I'm going to just throw some money at it. And I end up with great content that builds my audience. So hopefully it's a win-win. So that was the thought behind the experiment there. I do have a couple of ideas that are in the pipeline that people I'm working with. One is another YouTube channel that is like able to run without a personality, right? Kind of like they call it like a faceless, YouTube channel, right? That you're producing content that doesn't have a person talking necessarily, or you hire voiceover to do the talking. And so that YouTube channel has launched. We're going to give it a couple of months to see how it does, but that's one little fun project that I've started. And then another one is in the works that I'll share once that actually gets going. So.
That's interesting. Yeah, interesting move with a YouTube. I've never heard of people investing in a YouTube channel. I guess the idea has to be pretty promising for you to move forward with that.
Yeah, like I said, it's not big money, right? Like it's something I can throw, you know, $2,000-3,000 and somebody else can try it. And if it gains a little traction, I'll invest more, right? So it's some very minor, you know, some minor swings that hopefully we get a base hit on.
Wasn't your other idea on Twitter about getting 50 or 100 people to pitch into one website and everyone writes content?
I threw that idea out there as well. And I got a lot of interest on that. A lot of people would love to sort of crowdsource a website. I still think there's something there. I haven't figured out the logistics of it quite yet.
Or
right?
splitting the profits 100 times.
Right. How do you split the profits? Are they really owners, or am I just the only owner? And somehow they get paid. I couldn't quite come to terms with how to manage all of that, both financially and 50 people, right? So if somebody has a great way to crowdsource a website, I mean, Wikipedia is the largest crowdsourced website, you know, and one of the largest websites in the world. So there's definitely ideas I'm sure that could work. I haven't quite hit on what that would be. So
yeah, but I think the thing is, your audience is more hustlers, right? We want to get paid. So Wikipedia is unpaid. So I think that's the main issue.
Tapping into the wrong audience is what you're saying.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you might want to look in the nonprofit sector.
The mom bloggers.
Yeah. No, I think that's an interesting move. So I think it sounds like throughout your career, you've always really diversified. We had a guest come on, a close childhood friend of mine. His name's Tom. He's in the FBA space, which you were also in. He mentioned that I should be more focused on things. But as you know, in our space, if you're focused on one site and you get slapped with the Google penalty, that's like detrimental to your not only mental health, but your financial health as well, right?
Yeah.
What would you say as like someone in the weeds in our space? Would you say, hey, yeah, you should go all in for your first million and diversify from there on? Or, you know, because even when you first started Niche Pursuits in early 2010 or 12 or something like that.
Yeah, 2011.
You mentioned you had Longtail Pro, you had the FBA businesses popping up throughout the years. So you weren't all in on that, right? So right. Would you recommend people starting out to be laser focused or have a couple things brewing at the same time?
I would maybe 80-20 it, right? Like put 80% of your focus on something that gets your core focus. And I'm a fan of like, at this point, this hasn't always been the case, but I'm a fan of like one site, right? Like, so I wouldn't build like 5 sites, right? I would like put 80% of your time into like one site, that if it's a blog, you know, if it's getting traffic from Google or whatever, then I'd put 20% of my time into something that is not reliant on Google, is not like, so just building a second site, that doesn't count as diversification in my book, right? If it's traffic from the same source, right? If it's a different type of site that gets traffic from Facebook or Pinterest or, you know, email or some other strategy, right? That would be diversification. So I would 80-20 it. You know, I'm a fan of sort of having a side hustle to work on. But it's hard to know exactly when to, you know, scale up or scale back the effort on one particular project. So take that advice with a grain of salt. But that's kind of what I've always done, is I've put most of my time and effort into like my biggest project, but then I allow myself to dabble. And a lot of times those sort of dabbling projects have turned into something big, like Amazon FBA is one of those, right? Like I didn't put a ton of effort into it. I just threw up a couple of products and one of them took off, and it's like, okay, well, I'll put a little more effort there, and that snowballed and built
Can
a nice
you talk
business.
about it, or?
Sure. Yeah, I sold the business. So it was a pillow business.
Great.
So the initial idea was, I'm a huge fan of thin pillows, right? Like very thin
Same.
pillows. And when I went to Amazon, this is again 2014, early 2015, there just really wasn't any specifically thin pillows, right? And the ones that were, like, I ordered a couple, they're like still these really thick pillows. So literally all I did is like manufacture a thin pillow SEO'd the title for like Thin Pillow. And it sold like without any marketing on my behalf. Not like but it started selling within the first couple of weeks. Oh yeah. I was selling like a pillow. Oh. Yeah, because I was like literally the only listing that was optimized for thin pillows because nobody was selling those. A couple of years later, and if you look now, there's hundreds of thin pillows.
Yeah.
Right. So I built out a portfolio of several different pillow styles, right? Memory foam, latex, different types of latex, all thin pillows. And then I did some other, I had like a dozen different pillows that I was selling.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can you talk about like exit amount, your revenue, or is that like under NDA? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I can talk about it. Yeah, I actually blogged about this and shared it when I sold it. So I sold it for $450,000.
Hell yeah.
So I can't remember the numbers, but it was like $15,000 a month net profit, something like that, right? I'm trying to remember if that adds up. But yeah, it was like a 3x annual multiple, whatever that is. So it was making probably about $15,000 a month.
Nice.
Something like that.
And did you it sounds like it was pretty minimal work, and like you kind of hit it big with perfect product market fit. Did you have a Shopify site as well, or was it purely FBA? You didn't even have a site.
It was all FBA. I did have a website. I did build a content site that was ranking for lots of pillow keywords, and so that went with the sale as well. Like I think the site itself was making a couple $1,000s a month just in its own sort of affiliate revenue.
Great.
But that drove a lot of traffic. Any article that was about thin pillows, I would drive that traffic to my own listings as well. So I sold that together, but I did not sell directly on the site. All the sales happened on Amazon.
Amazing. Yeah. So you've had that exit, you've had the Long Tail Pro. How was that one? Was it good?
That was good.
It a big one?
That one was bigger. Yeah, that one was bigger.
Nice.
I think I have shared the numbers. I don't know why I hesitate. I'm pretty darn sure that I've shared the numbers, but it was a 7-figure, exit. So it was good. Yeah.
Nice. So it seems like you've hit it big. And where would you recommend niche site owners after they have like a pretty significant exit like yours? Where do you diversify? Are you just in boring index ones? You mentioned real estate projects. I guess it's near your area, so it's in the West, right?
Yep. Yeah, I'm in Washington State. Yeah. So.
Oh.
Yeah, Washington State. Yeah, Pacific Northwest. So yeah, a friend and I bought some land. We're developing some homes on that. So hopefully those actually start getting built this year. It's been like a year and a half, and it's a very slow process getting all the permitting and everything approved. And so I'm doing that. Yeah, a lot of S&P 500 index. Investing. I do some individual stocks. That's been terrible, of course, over the last 12 months, but whatever. And then I made a really good move, lucky move. When I sold Longtail Pro, it was early 2016. I said, I'm going to put a little bit of money in Bitcoin. Why not? And that, exploded, of course. And so that did really well. And that was a nice little like extra bump for me as well. So.
Wow, that's great. Yes, it seems you're super diversified, and I like it. I'm into it. I'm probably gonna have to do something similar. I think a couple of levers that you can pull. I think I'm just pitching you ideas at this point, but you have a significant email list.
Yeah,
you have a significant email list. I think I reached out to you to sponsor your email, and you're like, we don't do that here anymore, or something like that. You should totally do that.
I know.
You should totally do that. I think. Perfect example, because your list is super valuable because it's very qualified people. You can just see it based off of your YouTube RPMs. My pitch to you is this: you should be pretty much the go-to for everything niche sites, and be like Morning Brew, but for SEO, everything SEO or something like that.
Yeah, and
then write a daily newsletter. Have a writer that's just like a reporter or an aggregator. I'm doing that once a week right now, and I'm giving you my idea. You should go out and like have one appointment booker and have one closer, and that's the formula, man.
Yeah. No, I 100%
I'm pretty sure
agree.
that's like a mid 6-figure business right there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I 100% agree. And I dabbled with that, right, for the first, I did it for about a year, right? I sort of the last couple of months of 2022, I just said, you know what, I can't handle managing all of this right now. So I think the answer is I probably just need to hire people. But just to give you the background, like I was allowing sponsors in my newsletter. They do pay really well. I didn't even have to have anybody selling any of the ad space. It was all inbound, and I was booked out like 100% the last 2 months of the year. And because it was me doing, well, I had other people in place to try and help me. They didn't work out well. So it fell on me the last couple months of the year. And I was overwhelmed. I'm like, we're just not going to accept any sponsors. I need some breathing room. And so I'm taking a breather here for a few months. I do imagine it will start back up. But I want to get my email really dialed in before I open that back up, right? I want to make sure I have the process, the people in place, really figure out the goal, the funnel, and just everything. And then, yes, I will probably turn sponsors back on because people are willing to pay, right? Like, there's not a problem there. There's lots of money out there. People willing to pay sponsored spots. So,
is there anything you're looking to change on the website for your email to get more leads onto your list?
Yeah, we've tested out several things. I'm gonna try different offers, see what kind of converts the best. I really only have like one or two kind of general like incentive offers right now, and I want to create more kind of siloed offers, right? Depending on what article they're in or what category the visitor comes to. So if it's more a side hustle type article, or a very niche website article, or AI content article, I want to have more focused giveaway lead magnets. And so that's what I want to get in place, because I think that will increase the opt-in rate a ton on the website, because there's a lot of traffic, and the content is quite broad, right? They might come in reading an article about, side hustles for women or something, right? And then they get an opt-in on like the best SEO tips, right? And like, they don't care, right? But if I had an opt-in offer for like, here's 10 other side hustles you can try, they'll get on my email list, right? So
yeah, I've done that with one of my sites. I think I've got like 9 different lead magnets with different things. And
yeah,
another one I'm going to do the same thing, but like say general fitness space for articles that are about how to get big legs or whatever it is. Then it's all going to be opt-ins for, hey, here's a free whatever it is for that exact topic. So it's not just the same thing across the whole damn site.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. So definitely, that's where I'm trying to focus right now, is getting that all figured out. Testing out different ways to get people to opt in. And hopefully once I get that in place and it's more hands off, then I can move to the okay, do I start selling sponsored spots in the email and growing that side of the business?
Yeah, I think this might be one of those opportunities that's similar to you not turning on display ads. It's kind of like oh man, why didn't I do this earlier type of thing. Well,
I know the kind of money I can generate. So I know for sure that I'm giving up call it 25% of additional revenue I can have. Right now I need a couple months to just breathe and get it figured out. And then maybe when I do have the right person in, I know I can turn that on, and that'll be the nice bump for sure.
Yeah, especially if you're booked out. You know what that means, right, Spencer? It means you're charging way too low.
Yeah. Oh,
way
100%.
too low.
Yep. It's true. So you're preaching to the choir, man.
Yeah, let me get on that pricing, man. Let me get on that pricing.
You'll be the first one. There we go.
Yeah.
We should mention our sponsor, Jacky. We should be mentioning our sponsor here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Our sponsor is hrefs.com this time. Spencer, sorry, we got to pay the bills.
It happens. It's all right.
It's number one SEO tool in the market. Spencer, you use Ahrefs, right?
I do. I use Ahrefs for sure. Keyword research, analysis. I'm a user.
Perfect. Have you tried any other SEO tools, or is this just the one that you always stuck with?
Yeah, I've tried others. I do have a subscription to SEMrush as well. But I find myself in Ahrefs more often, you know? So, and of course I've tried tons of other tools. I'm fortunate enough that a lot of people give me access to lots of tools, you know, just to test out and hope that I blog about it or mention it. But those are the two tools that I typically come back to.
Yeah, same. I think it's just SEMrush, the UX is just terrible. Every time I land on their the site explorer or whatever it's called, I just feel overwhelmed. That's why I think it's just the simplicity of Ahrefs. But when it does work, it's great. And
that's right. Absolutely, I agree.
But with you, that's it for the sponsor segment. But with you being able to access so many tools, I think you're at a pretty good position to, you know, call the shots in the, you know, you can probably see trends. Is there any tool that you try that you're like, wow, this is revolutionary? Don't say Jasper. I see you're ranking for that. You're not allowed to say that one because we don't like them here.
Oh, what's going on?
No. It's just they're always in their affiliates are always in my inbox. I absolutely hate it. You know, the spammers. Yeah.
Yep.
Because they.
Yep. I will say they have a good affiliate program. But that's all I'll say about Jasper. Other tools that are maybe revolutionary. Oh man, good question. I guess I'll just say a couple of tools that I do use regularly in our businesses. Surfer SEO, we use that a lot. And Market Muse, actually, hand in hand.
Really?
Yeah.
Do they do the same thing?
They essentially do the same thing. I just have subscriptions to both. I actually got a lifetime deal on Market Muse. And so whenever we run out of credits on Surfer, we'll backfill it with Market Muse. So they're both great. And so use those to update content, optimize content, help the authors, you know, create outlines and create content as well. So I wouldn't call those revolutionary at this point because they've been around for a while, but those are definitely a couple of tools that I use on a regular basis in my business. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, there's so many AI related tools that I'm not a heavy user of any of them yet. I'm still waiting to see how that's all going to turn out, right? I would never put ChatGPT content on Niche Pursuits, for example, right? Like I just, you know, some people are all in and like, hey, why not? Let's just, you know, write 1,000 articles. I think it's too early to know exactly how Google is going to treat that type of content. So I'm in more of a wait and see mode as it relates to that. But there's tons of tools that can do similar things.
Yeah. I think I sent out a tweet saying that like I wouldn't call these AI tools or content generators revolutionary because there's just simply an OpenAI API call, right? It's not anything revolutionary.
Exactly.
And people raising money. I think I spoke on a previous podcast with Gail that like what will happen in this year is so many companies are going to be raising money off of the backbone of this like whole hype train that's going on right now. And it's going to be pretty worrisome. It's going to be like a mini bubble, and building on the back of OpenAI without seeing where the calls are going to, like the pricing is going to end up is a risk in itself. Does Link Whisper actually utilize OpenAI?
No. No.
Oh.
Nope.
Interesting.
So, no, it's all our own technology, right? To be able to, because it's a plugin that affords a lot of functionality because it has access to all your blog posts, so it can read, index, you know, and sort of query any line, right, to find anchor text or to find related posts, or right. So just a lot of cool things that it can do because it lives in WordPress versus, you know, a SaaS, you know, product. But no, it doesn't rely on any other technology. It's all built in.
How are you using Link Whisper to get the most out of it? Because obviously you can kind of go through and just just go through and use the recommendations that it gives stock. But are there any settings and stuff that you change that you like to use?
As far as settings, it kind of depends on the site. Niche Pursuits, for example, is pretty much out of the box. But some sites, for whatever reason, they mention a lot of phrases, like very similar phrases and like all the titles. of their articles. So you might like ask Link Whisper to ignore that title or to ignore that phrase. I'm trying to think of an example, but some people might want to do that, ignore certain phrases if it's recommending links, with that same phrase over and over again. But I use it in my business. It's part of the process for my writers. When a new blog post is written, they, of course, will add, 2, 3, 4 internal links based on Link Whisper suggestions to that article. But then my senior editor, as soon as a new article is published, we don't want any orphan posts. And so we always add a new 1, 2, 3, 4 internal link based on Link Whisper suggestions to that new post. So it's just part of the content process now to make sure everything is linking together and the way that, we should be doing things all along, but Link Whisper just makes it a little easier.
Yeah, because there's one interesting setting, like you can choose to skip like 2 or 3 sentences for every like internal link. What's the reasoning behind doing that?
That is one that I do, just because from a user perspective, if you're hit with, internal links in the first sentence, or, in the first paragraph, you have a couple internal links, you might be sending visitors, to other articles, whereas maybe you want them to read and get to your first call to action button, right, before they see a internal link to click off of. So that's kind of the reasoning there, is just get people to maybe read more than the first sentence or 2.
Gotcha.
And so I do that. I don't remember how many sentences, but, I do have it's 3 or 4 sentences to skip. And there was, another setting that a lot of people maybe aren't familiar with is that you can connect it with Google Search Console. And the reason why that's interesting is because it will pull in the data for like the top keywords that any given article is already ranking for, right? And based on that information, Link Whisper knows that, hey, you're probably trying to rank for this keyword because Google Search Console says, you are ranking for this keyword. And so when we recommend internal links, we're going to find keywords that are related to that, right? Because that's kind of what Google Search Console is saying. So if you connect Google Search Console, it makes the internal links even a little smarter, right? Because it kind of knows, hey, this is what you are ranking for, or you're trying to rank for, to get that sort of target keyword. So that'd be another setting I would recommend for people.
Okay.
Gotcha. I think I want to change directions because I want to be mindful of the time. But are there any forward-looking statements in terms of like the current situation that's happening with ChatGPT? Pretty revolutionary now with Google Bard. What do you feel like the future of niche sites are going to be? Because would you say large impact, medium impact, or like low impact in the next year?
I think in the next year, it's going to feel a lot like featured snippets. I think that they're going to have that functionality where it's honestly, for users, it might not feel that different. Like somebody that isn't familiar with SEO, the normal user, they're going to type in a Google query. And right now, if you type in how many cups are in a quart, right? Google already gives you that answer right there, right? So I think it's going to feel similar. In that there's going to be kind of this featured snippet, but maybe there's no link to a website, right? So maybe if you're getting a ton of traffic from like featured snippets, maybe it's going to have a big impact. But I still think most of the traffic is going to still click on the top 10 SERPs for most queries. That would be my thought. Who knows? Maybe that's wishful thinking. But I just can't imagine that Google is going to drastically change how they operate by not sending traffic to websites. So much of their ad business is reliant both on the display network, right, and the search network, of course, that I think Google is going to be very timid about how they roll this out, right? I still think they're going to make it very easy for users to visit the websites because Google wants people to visit those websites because then they get even more ad revenue, right? They get the search ad when somebody types in a search. Then when they click on one of the websites, they get the display ad network, right? So I don't think Google is going to just cut off 50% of their revenue by giving answers with no results. So my hunch would be it's a small result. It's going to feel like when featured snippets were introduced.
Yeah, yeah. I think this is going to be pretty interesting times. And one thing one of my predictions was like video is going to be more dominant in the SERPs in the future. If you go on Bing recently, and yeah, they're already rolling that out. Are you taking any steps to maybe cover the topics that you rank for already on Google as a YouTube video? Like pretty much doing keyword research as like an SEO. And for example, best VPN. If you rank for best VPN, would you go out and is this in the works? Like, would you try to target that exact keyword on YouTube, or is that still on the side? Because I see you have a lot of informational keywords. Those can be covered in a YouTube video, you know, and it doesn't have to be you because it's not very technical.
Yeah, I think that's a valid strategy, right? I think that would be smart to try to create videos based on keywords, and a lot of people do that. Is that something I'm doing? No. Is that something I will do? I would give it a strong maybe. Probably not this year. I think
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and I think I would see more bang for my buck by focusing on the more recommended videos, browse videos that are not keyword focused, to be honest, because I think that takes more creativity and more work. I think there's a lot less competition there. Like anybody can create a keyword focused video, right? But not very many people have the creative ability to make something interesting, right? And I think I have a little bit more of a creative mind, so I think it would be smarter for me to focus on that area, right? And so that's if I go bigger in video, which I would like to. That's what I would do. Gotcha.
I guess my ending note for you is why don't you do much short form content? It's not like you don't do it much at all, right? If I remember correctly.
Short form, like just short articles?
Like no, sorry, like TikTok.
Oh, TikTok. Sorry, yeah. Shorts.
YouTube, shorts.
It all just comes down to time management, right? That's all.
Yeah, because
right now I focus on what's producing results for me, and that would be a whole new area. So,
because what we've utilized for this podcast, for example, hey Presley, we have like an editor go in and just cut up our podcasts into snippets, and that's been doing really well. Doesn't cost much, Spencer. You know, could look into that because you guys have a great podcast with Jared.
And
incredible.
Introduce me to Presley. You know. Maybe I should be doing that.
I might have to gatekeep him. No, I'll introduce you guys. He's like he's been doing good work. Couple thousand views per video. You don't get paid much from shorts, but the thing is, it helps discoverability. We got a lot of subscribers from there, so it really depends on how much you value that. And I guess it really depends on how much you value a subscriber. Do you run paid ads right now, by the way?
Just for Link Whisper. Yeah, I do.
What's your because we've been trying to grow like our YouTube subscriber base. It's going all right, I guess. Nearly at the 1,000 subscriber mark. But yeah, I was like thinking if there's any paid ads you ran. So you never ran paid ads for niche pursuits. You have like the most ridiculous list of like niche site builders, and it's just all organic.
It's all organic. Yeah. Yeah, I may have dabbled in some things, but nothing significant. It's all been organic. I just been around since 2011. That's all longevity. You know, it builds.
Yeah, I think I'm more impatient, so I've been buying ads on Twitter and Facebook for the list, and that's been going well. I grew like 2,000 subs from last month on the newsletter. It costs money though.
Yeah, no, I agree. But on that topic, I do expect I will start investing in paid ads this year. Sort of as I alluded to, I'm trying to get everything lined up, the funnel, the incentive offers, the people in place, and then I'm going to turn on ads and hopefully just exponentially grow the list. So I do plan on doing that. I should have done it a long time ago, probably. Yeah, that's the plan. So maybe I'll come back and let you guys know how it goes.
Yeah, cool. Well, yeah. I guess that's it for the pod. Where can people find you? Where do you want to push the audience?
I'm probably most active on Twitter, actually. So it's just at Niche Pursuits is the Twitter handle. So they can follow me there for, SEO stuff, blogging stuff, and random stuff that whatever I think of that day. And then, nichepursuits.com if they want to go over there, get on the newsletter, listen to the podcast, publishing lots of great content there. So.
Yeah, great. I guess final question for you before we leave. When you do sell Niche Pursuits, where does the Twitter go? Are you just saying goodbye to that?
Boy, oh boy, that's the $1 million question. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when I get there. That might be one of those things I try to negotiate. Like, can I please hold on to this? Maybe it was a bad decision to call it the Niche Pursuits handle. I should have just, made it a personal handle. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Gotcha. I think Brian Dean was able to keep his main handle and then switch backlink code to something else. Or you'll be able to figure it out. All right, cool. Yeah. Well, Spencer, thank you so much for your time today, man. Appreciate you hopping on.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jacky. James, it's been great. Anytime.
Great.